Mercedes' planned update for Imola just got delayed for Monaco, and the Silver Arrows are the only team that is bringing an upgrade to this track. It seems like they're willing to take the risk that this track offers, but that might be one of the worst ideas that came to mind for the Brackley-based squad. In Monaco, everything can go south for them, and even if they do extract the maximum potential out of the upgrade package, they won't be able to judge the success of the upgrade due to the nature of the track. Has Mercedes gone wrong by bringing the long-awaited upgrades to the Principality of Monaco? Ever since the 2023 season started, one thing became clear. Mercedes needs to chase a new concept for the W14, as the narrow and no-pod side-pod design just didn't seem to do the job anymore. And as always, it was Hamilton who opened the eyes of the Brackley-based squad, but with them bringing back Allison to the CTO position and with the 17% extra time to spend in the aerodynamic facilities compared to Red Bull, Mercedes may have something to look forward to as the season progresses. The first step towards this scenario were the upgrades in Imola, a fast and high downforce track that was supposed to bring out the best of the biggest package that is going to be brought to the sport. A new front suspension, a new floor, a new side pod design were all meant to show whether Mercedes has finally found a way to produce more rear downforce and create a stabler platform for the aerodynamic concept of the car. Nonetheless, due to the tragedy that Italy has to deal with right now, it was only right that the track was cancelled and Mercedes moved their planned package to Monaco. This has raised some eyebrows throughout the paddock, mostly because Monaco is a race of survival. More precisely, the drivers are trying to avoid the walls that are so close to the track that the margin of error is literally brought down to zero. And crashes are very common here, with Mick Schumacher and Daniel Ricciardo showing how little it takes for a driver to take the car a bit wider and end up with thousands of dollars in repair damage. This is why the teams are not even thinking of bringing an upgrade package to such a unique circuit, but Mercedes doesn't have time to waste anymore. And they're sick and tired of the data collection process, in which all they're doing is trying to set up the car to its optimum performance, knowing that they are miles behind the top teams ahead. What seems to be a huge issue with Mercedes is that they've wasted so much time trying to figure out what's good or bad for the car that now that they've focused on the new concept, it might be a bit too late for them to catch up with Red Bull in 2023. But that is a topic for another video, as today we're going to talk about why the upgrades in Monaco are not such a good idea for Mercedes. Apart from the track being too narrow and the drivers risking it all just to extract a bit more performance, it cannot show the true potential of the upgrade package. This is not a track on which Hamilton, Russell or any other driver can fully send it throughout the tarmac and see whether the car generates enough rear downforce. However, they can definitely see how the car acts in the slow corners here, as Hamilton labeled the car as a bit too pointy and hard to drive, meaning that he wasn't able to hit the braking points of the slow corners too precisely due to the strong front end of the car combined with a narrow cockpit. The latter issue will be addressed for the upcoming season, and right now Mercedes needs to make sure that whatever they bring here in Monaco will work wonders in terms of cutting Red Bull's lead. As expected, the upgrade is supposed to shed around 0.3 per second compared to the Austrian team, which should be enough to cement them as the second fastest team and bring them more frequent podiums. If they are able to extract more performance out of the wind tunnels, then rest assured that the second half of the season is going to bring us a lot of excitement, even though this sounds like a far-fetched scenario in a season that is completely dominated by the two Red Bull drivers. But this is far from the only issue that Mercedes has, because if the team fails to finish the race due to a crash, then the budget cap will pose another threat to their further upgrade plans. We've seen it happen with Alpine's crash in Melbourne, and it's a threat that every team needs to live with, which is why the massive upgrade packages are mostly brought to tracks that can extract the best out of the car's performance without presenting too big of a threat for a crash. What seems to be a huge challenge for Hamilton and Russell, one that the other 18 drivers won't have, is the fact that they're going to have an extraordinarily hard race, because they need to extract performance out of a brand new car, one that has been tried out in the simulator only, on a track that is presenting itself as a huge challenge to finish on anyway. In practice sessions, there's almost a guaranteed red flag due to the constant spins and crashes, and even if Russell and Hamilton manage to survive these crashes, it would mean that they'll have less time to spend on the track to test out the new upgrades. Wolff has spoken about Mercedes bringing an upgrade to Monaco, confirming yet again that although it's difficult for the fans and the general media out there to understand that this is not a silver bullet and they won't compete with Red Bull all of a sudden, it's an update that's supposed to show whether they are in the right direction or not. But even the Austrian wasn't immune to the challenge posed by the Principality's race, saying that he doesn't expect much data to be collected from Monaco and that the goal would be to have a solid qualifying session, one from which the team can build and, with a little bit of luck, hope to climb to the top of the podium. Furthermore, Wolff provided worse news for the fans as he went on to add, "Of course, we would have liked to see how we were doing with the new car. When you completely revamp a car, you want to know what the upgrade package can do. Unfortunately, that won't happen anytime soon. But I'm hoping for a step forward. We had to react to Red Bull's superiority. Because we couldn't find a solution to make the old car fast at the front or rear, we rebuilt the underbody, bodywork and front wheel suspension. There are no miracles in Formula 1. We won't go half a second faster now, but hopefully we'll have fewer problems and can continue to work with a competitive car. So far, it has been too stiff and stubborn. Although I sincerely hope that Mercedes has what it takes to take the battle to Red Bull's noses, I cannot help but note that they are playing with fire in terms of keeping their drivers happy. If this design doesn't turn out for the better of the team, there will be a major issue that the team will have to fight in the upcoming season, and it's not related to the car: Hamilton's contract. According to recent reports, Ferrari's boss, John Elkann, has reportedly offered £40 million, which is nearly the same as what Hamilton has asked Mercedes to pay manually for the upcoming 2 years, and with the SF23 being the only car that is somewhat able to challenge the RB19 in 2023, Hamilton might see himself in a red suit sooner rather than later. To top that off, Wolff said that for the first time in the past 10 or 11 years, he and Hamilton may not agree on the price on his contract, as he said that the most difficult thing in the contractual talks right now is the money question. Which is why Penny Thau, Hamilton's manager, had to intervene and discuss this topic with Mercedes. Nonetheless, it just goes to show that if Mercedes isn't willing to pay the amount of money to Hamilton, Ferrari will, and the potential swap between Leclerc and Hamilton has been mentioned in the paddock, even though it has been fiercely denied by the Monegasque driver. The Monaco GP will give us all the answers in terms of whether or not we'll be seeing Hamilton progress with Mercedes in the near future, and with time not being on his side, I'm sure that he would want to have a go at the 8th record-breaking championship sooner rather than later. If Mercedes isn't willing to provide this for him, another team will, and Ferrari may have the strongest cards in their hands in terms of landing a potential champion in their team, the first one after Raikkonen in 2007.